So here's the actual metric comparison with the case study that I'm going to show you shortly. So based on the recent AR campaigns that we ran from sort of the beginning of September, they're still running at the moment, the CPM honestly was a fifth of what we're used to it being, which is absolutely incredible, considering it's mostly cold, and we all know that CPMs are just, doubling every month at the moment as we're running up to Q4. Especially if you're in lead gen, oh my days, it's nuts right now, right? I'm doing some lead gen for the agency I consult for, and their lead gen is just very expensive in terms of CPMs. But for e-commerce, you're this is in US dollars, but Australian dollars, not US dollars. But you can expect cold prospecting audiences in Australia to be a little bit lower than this normally. Actually, Australia is quite cheap in terms of ads, as long as you're not in a super competitive space, in my experience. So under $20 is quite normal, but it's very competitive space, this one. As you'll see, it's mothers and babies, basically. So there's so many brands out there that are in that same space. And it just shows you the CPM lowering like that, shows you that it cut through the noise. And that's actually like the motto of, the little firm I've created, Augmented Hype, you can see in the bottom corner, cutting through the noise, because that's what the AR ad does. You're in a space, where you're competing for auction, ad inventory on the auction. And because no one else is using this format, Facebook prefers to push people to experiences that are, bringing them in. Oh yeah, by the way, so I'm going to do a Q&A at the end. So just load up any questions in the chat and I'll jump into them at the end. Engagement, 10 times higher. This was just insane. And it's really just because it's quite a new thing. This is very suitable for augmented reality ads, because obviously it's not in terms of like augmented reality ads are only suitable to certain products, but it's in terms of how used to augmented reality ads people are. So they've seen a lot of glasses, like augmented reality ads, where you're trying glasses on, and that's what this is. So I think that has a big factor on the engagement being much better. Click-through rate is incredible also, because people are clicking on the actual, and this is actually outbound click-through rate, by the way, so people leaving the platform, not just people clicking on the ad. That's a different metric altogether. But people are experiencing the product first, and then they're just like, cool, this is for me, this suits me, I'm going and checking it out. Conversion rate, much better. CPA, about half of what we're used to paying. And the other, those sort of metrics all fall in line with the lower CPM. But one really big thing to highlight is the life expectancy and the cost. Because augmented reality ads is something you can use for a long time. They're not just something that runs out very quickly. And honestly, I do feel that people say about creative fatigue is a bit too much of a big thing, when it really isn't that much of a big thing. But what is a big thing is having similar creatives for a long time. So you need to be able to switch it up. You need to have some different formats. You need to have some, different branding, or maybe come at it from a more native way, or come at it a more branded way if you're used to doing native. You need to really mix it up. So with AR ads, you can do that, because the actual ads you use for the bringing people into the experience can change. It's the actual AR ad asset will remain the same, but you can obviously tweak it as well, depending on what promotions you have. But the thing you have before that brings people to it is just completely up to you how you have that. You can change it as much as you want. So it's this sort of secondary asset that's pulling people in that you can just, mess around with. And the conventional costs of AR ads, it can be anywhere between 5,000 and I've seen some for like 150,000. But really for e-commerce and for the sort of products we've been working with, that's the sort of, the sort of cost that people have been using, and they've been able to make that back within a month, in terms of revenue. So the return is incredible. Whereas, and I'm not knocking, conventional creators at all, because I'm a marketer myself. I do Facebook ads, and I still use video, like almost exclusively, static images, carousels. Started testing with instant experiences, but not AR ads, but just the ones where it brings up sort of like a magazine, on Facebook magazine type ad. But to get something created that's solid, branded, really nice video, really awesome production, you're looking at about 10,000, whereas AR ads are going to cost you half of that. And in my experience, it's very difficult to get the video creative right, so that it can actually be something with longevity. because it may be a creative you come up with and you use and it doesn't hit the mark. Like the audience don't respond to it. It's too branded. It feels like they're being sold to, or it's too native. It feels a bit, not as good quality as you want. Or there's all these different factors. So, the life expectancy of the AR ad can really be up to how creative you are with it.